Hello and welcome back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, please give us a like, a share and subscribe and click that notification bell. Helps us immensely and helps the channel to grow. In this story, we look at the White Lady of Grace Dieu Priory ruins. Night draws over the Charnwood Hills. The wind hushes through broken stone, and somewhere between ruin and field, something lingers. They say she still walks there, veiled in white, silent as the mist. This is the story of Grace Dieu Priory and the ghost that refuses to fade. The founding of Grace Dieu. Grace Dieu Priory was founded around 1235 to 1241 by Roetia de Verdun, a noblewoman of Norman descent and one of the few female landholders of her era. Roetia established a house for Augustinian nuns, known as the White Nuns of St. Augustine. They lived a life of quiet austerity, prayer, devotion, tending the poor and sick, all from within the secluded woodlands near what is now Thringstone, Leicestershire. Dedicated to the Holy Trinity and St. Mary, Grace Dieu quickly became known as this place of spiritual retreat. But it was never wealthy. The priory relied on small donations, and the sisters often described themselves as poor in the worldly goods, but rich in faith. Roetia de Verdun died in 1247, likely buried within the priory's grounds. After her death, the convent endured plagues, political unrest and financial hardship. When the dissolution of the monasteries arrived under Henry VIII in 1538, the nuns were forced to leave. The estate passed to John Beaumont and later to the family of the playwright Francis Beaumont, yet the stones remained, slowly succumbing to ivy, rain and time. The land beneath the priory stands on a subtle geological fault, the Thringstone fault line, and near an ancient standing stone believed to predate Christianity. Researchers such as Paul Devereux have speculated that areas with geological faulting and quartz deposit may emit low-frequency fields or light phenomena, whatever the science. Locals insist Grace Dieu is a place where energy holds on, a place where the air remembers. The haunting begins. From the late 19th century onwards, stories began to circulate of a white lady near the ruins. Early accounts spoke of a veiled woman seen at dusk, her hands clasped in prayer, gliding through the archways before dissolving into the mist. By the 1970s, modern eyewitnesses began reporting her on the roadside opposite the ruins, particularly near the bush shelter on the Whitwick-Thringstone stretch. Motorists describe a figure dressed in a white habit who steps onto the road, hand raised as they're asking for help. When they slow to a stop, she vanishes. A Leicestershire police officer once filed a report describing a woman in a pale cloak and hood crossing the tarmac, who disappeared halfway across. Walkers and tourists have felt a sudden warmth behind them, followed by an icy chill, as if someone had drawn close, then gone. Others have heard the faint echo of a woman's voice, whispering Latin prayers or weeping softly near the arch of the old chapel. Photographs and recordings have captured mists forming into vertical human-like shapes. One EVP session recorded what seemed to be a single female voice reciting Ave Maria. There are several versions of her story. None have been proven, all hauntingly human. One legend tells of a young nun who broke her vows and bore a child. When the secret came to light, the child died, and in grief and shame the mother took her own life, her soul bound to the priory ever since. Another version claims she was Margaret Charnel, the final prioress of Grace Dieu. When Henry VIII's men arrived in 1538 to dissolve the house, she refused to leave the altar. Dragged away, she cursed the ground, vowing that her spirit would remain until the priory bells rang again. Bells that, of course, have never rung since. Some even connect her to the Beaumont family, suggesting her ghost might be that of a later resident tied spiritually to the holy ground she built upon. Regardless of origin, her appearance is remarkably consistent. A tall, veiled woman, glowing faintly white, never speaking, simply watching. Witnesses describe not fear but deep sadness, an atmosphere of mourning. The White Lady is said to appear most often in November and during Lent, aligning with periods of reflection and penitence in the Christian calendar. Her path is predictable, from the ruins across the road and towards the fields leading to the old watercourse, as if retracing an ancient habit of prayer. She has become woven into local folklore as Leicestershire's enduring nun. As famous as the Lady of Bradgate or the Grey Lady of I.P.A, residents still tell children not to linger too long by the ruins after dark. Not because she's dangerous, but because she might ask you to pray. Who knows? Listed in the Leicestershire Archaeological and Historical Society's 1920s notes on phantom nuns of the Midlands, mentioned in Tony Cornwell's 1998 parapsychology survey as a residual haunting, featured in several books of English Hauntings, English Haunted Leicestershire by Andrew Ross 2009, and Ghosts of the Midlands, Peter Underwood. Geological and historical data confirm proximity to fault lines and ancient sites, adding layers of mystique and plausible natural explanation. By daylight, Grace Dieu is quiet, bird song, ivy and broken arches framed by sky, but by the mist thickens and the road grows silent, the past still walks here. Whether she is a remnant of faith, a nun seeking forgiveness, or an echo of sorrow that time refused to erase, the White Lady of Grace Dieu keeps her vigil still. And every November, when the air hangs heavy and the ruins glow pale in the moonlight, those who know this place say the same thing: she's here again. So whether you believe the story or not, or whichever story you may believe in, many people have reported, even seen and documented their sighting. I.P.A. conducted several investigations at different times between these ruins, and every time they collected activity, cat ball activity, EMF, and some strange orb light anomalies as well, passing the arches. Are these all tied to the nun's haunting, or are they tied to some other residual energy that may still be stuck there? Who knows? But whatever, these priory ruins are classified as the most haunted place in Leicestershire. So thanks for watching, and thanks for listening. Until the next story, don't forget to share, like and subscribe. It helps the channel to grow. It helps us immensely. Thank you. Bye.